Hey folks, today is Friday, March 28th, 2025. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. There's quite a bit, so just jumping in first, it's kind of a conversation starter, but it seems like at this point, we've talked about it before, but the big games are just taking way too long. By that, I mean like from the time that they're announced to when they actually release, it's often years and years, or the gap between sequels can sometimes come up to like a decade. The most recent examples now are The Witcher 4 and Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, Naughty Dog's new game. They're in headlines specifically because a reporter from Bloomberg, Jason Schreier, who often gets a lot of scoops right, essentially took to forums to state that both of these big, high-profile AAA titles aren't coming until like 2027. Yes, he said that they're not releasing next year, which is 2026, so it's safe to assume 2027 at the earliest. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, the most weird title ever. Sorry, it still drives me nuts. But Neil Druckmann from Naughty Dog did go on record in an interview with IGN recently saying that it is playable in terms of like how far along it is. They're playing it at their office apparently, but we know that The Witcher 4 is still very much in the early stages. So I think the reality is sometimes just like armchairing it here is that these games cost so much time and so much money to release that by the time they do, that's part of the reason why you hear every game development studio say that the last game that released like underperformed or fell below expectations, because like the corporation's expectations are so high because of how much time and money they invested into these things, leading to a lot of people wondering how long is this whole thing sustainable. Bethesda games taking a billion years, a new Witcher game presumably taking a long time, big AAA Sony first-party games taking a very long time, with some studios like Naughty Dog only putting out like 1 or 2 games per generation at this point. Look, as someone who just buys the games and plays them, I don't care what the bean counters at the corporations really think. I just don't want to wait so long. The way I look at it, I like when a game is announced and then it's out soon. I know it's fun to talk and speculate and hype when a game is announced 6 years early, but sometimes it's sweet to just know something's coming and then have it. Like, remember Fallout 4? It was leaked and stuff like that, but they announced it. I believe they announced it at the summer, and then it was out in the fall, and that was it. Sometimes that's just a beautiful thing, man. But again, if you want to read up on any of this or any of the other news stories I talk about, of course, all of it will be linked in the description down below. The other big news this week is Nintendo had a last-minute Nintendo Direct. No, not focused on Nintendo Switch 2, but seemingly one of the last big directs focused on the original Nintendo Switch. Maybe not the last, but, definitely coming to that point, especially because they announced that April 2nd, we're getting a full dedicated Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. I'm really excited to see what comes from that. I'm expecting quite a bit in terms of full hardware details, as well as hopefully a release date, and most importantly, a look at some damn games, man. But this new Nintendo Switch Direct that we got just yesterday, if you're watching this on Friday, revealed a lot of cool stuff. I can't cover everything. I can't give a full play-by-play, so I will link the full Nintendo Direct in the description. But some highlights for me personally include Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remaster coming this year. This is hot off the heels, of course, of the Dragon Quest 3 HD Remaster. Patapon 1 and 2 are getting a re-release here. And then there's also a new Everybody's Golf. It's Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, which is just a really cool idea. This is coming in 2025. We also got a new look at that weird, edgy Pac-Man sci-fi horror thing. It's very much like a 2D Hollow Knight Metroidvania style game, and we know now it's releasing July 18th. I definitely want to play that just because that just seems like some insane cocaine brain idea. So I'm on board, whatever. Nintendo also announced a new Tomodachi Life game. This is not coming anytime soon. It's slated for like 2026, but it is Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, and it looks totally bizarre. What you expect. We also got a new, more in-depth look at Pokemon Legends ZA, if that's your thing. At this point, I'm still expecting a little bit more from the Pokemon company, but there are some interesting ideas going on here. But for me personally, man, they announced this new kind of old school style Marvel superheroes beat 'em up game. This is from Dotemu. This is the folks behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, one of my favorite games the year that released. They just really understand the beat 'em up genre. This is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Along with that, man, we got a full in-depth look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks incredible. To me, it looks very much like what I expected from a new Metroid Prime game. It's got the same types of feel, the same types of gameplay flow, the same types of atmosphere, keeping it kind of chill and the story kind of low-key like the original Metroid Prime. Love to see that here. Some glimpses of the music sound beautiful. Samus has this badass new suit, as well as psychic powers, which seems like they could be pretty interesting in terms of like some puzzle solving and some combat abilities as well, like using her psychic abilities to control like how she shoots her beam like in real time. I don't know. It's like curving the bullet, Samus edition. I'm in. I've been in on this one since it was announced a billion years ago for the Nintendo Switch. The gameplay we saw here kind of looks like Nintendo Switch too. It's got a lot going on graphically, but we do know it is releasing in 2025. That's what Nintendo tells us. I'm hoping that's finally the case because this looks awesome. They also announced an update that is going to be rolling out in April called Virtual Card Sharing. This essentially is Nintendo kind of changing up how digital game ownership works in terms of like essentially now you're going to be owning a virtual cartridge and you're going to be able to swap that cartridge between devices you own as long as those devices are linked and paired up. It's also going to work with family sharing as well and sharing your games to other people for a limited time. I think ultimately, and again, it's just kind of like first impressions because I'm recording this not too long after the Nintendo Switch. It seems like good moves. It seems like positive moves. I'm always waiting for like the other shoe to drop with Nintendo. There's going to be some like thorn to this. But ultimately, it seems like they're making digital ownership easier. Is digital ownership becoming easier and more accessible, going to push out physical game releases even more and continue our all digital hellscape future? Probably, yeah. But if this is at least some consumer-friendly moves within the digital ecosystem, I think that's okay. But I definitely want to know what you guys think. Now, next up, before we keep going, this video is sponsored by Displate. What's Displate, you may ask? Where have you been? Displate is the best way to make your walls, make your place look cool. If you're looking to shake things up, you know, your old paper posters or canvas prints, Displate offers real metal posters. These things look absolutely gorgeous, and there are over 2 million artworks available in Displate's catalog. Bunch of new creative original art, and of course, a bunch of stuff from your favorite brands. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, but also gaming stuff like Cyberpunk, The Witcher, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Elden Ring. It feels like they really have everything. Check out the brand shop on their site and see for yourself. Their latest product, though, is Textra, a metal poster with tactile textures here. 3D contours and like, you know, matte and gloss in certain spots just make these look extra special if you're looking for something extra premium. And if you don't want to ruin your walls, you're like me, you're bad with tools, Displate is easy to hang with their tool-free system. You got a sticker leaf on your wall and a magnet, and it takes literal seconds to hang. Whether it's Displate or Displate Textra, whatever you get, it's really exciting. And thankfully, you don't have to wait too long because they offer fast shipping. Your new metal posters should arrive in 4 to 5 business days, so jump on it. So to check it out, click the link in the description down below or head to displate.com/@gameranx. And when you're over there, use code gameranx. Stick with me now. Here you can get 27% off one Displate, 32% off 2 Displates, or 37% off 3 Displates. Again, all you got to do is head to displate.com/@gameranx and use the code gameranx. But big thanks to Displate for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the news. That coffee is hitting big time. Woo. Next up, of course, some new releases. Last week was Assassin's Creed Shadows. That was the big one. Seems like it's doing pretty well for itself. According to Ubisoft, they put out player count numbers now over 3 million. You know, that's not sales numbers, so we're gonna have to wait and see that stuff. But it's an interesting update for a lot of people who were kind of looking at this like Ubisoft's last big hurrah, potentially with all of its corporate problems. And speaking of Ubisoft, just breaking news at the time of this recording. So IGN is reporting that Ubisoft forms a subsidiary for IPs like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six with the help of a $1 billion investment from Tencent. Now, this is kind of something that was rumored in the past, but Here it is. This new subsidiary of Ubisoft, this like separate thing, is, according to them, quote, building game ecosystems designed to become truly evergreen and multi-platform, with IGN saying that Tencent's stake amounts to 25%. They also said, backed by greater investment and boosted creative capacities, it will drive further increases in quality of narrative solo experiences, expand multiplayer offerings with increased frequency of content release, introduce free-to-play touchpoints. Okay, dude, you guys were already doing that under Ubisoft, so I just don't understand exactly what this is. I am not a business analyst type person or anything like that, but to me, it just feels like a money move more than anything. It seems like employees that work at regular Ubisoft studios and work on these franchises don't necessarily know what's going on yet. Does this mean Ubisoft is going to form new teams, or are they just going to leverage their existing stuff, bring it over? I have no idea, but this to me just kind of seems like, you know, changing numbers on a balance sheet and tweaking things and just, you know, creative accounting more than anything else. I'm curious to see what this actually does end up being long term, but for now, it seems like it was a lifeline for Ubisoft and in a way to get some additional investment from Tencent. So I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. If you have more insight into what this actually means, if you're smarter than me, let us know in the comments. Anyway, I digress. Releases for this week. Atomfall. If you're looking for something a little bit of a change of pace, something a little different, and you like AA games and don't expect like massive AAA quality, Atomfall is really cool. It's its own unique thing. It's new IP. It's creative. It's experimental, and it's from Rebellion, the people most recently behind the Sniper Elite series. This is kind of like a very, very light kind of faction version of like a Fallout mixed with a lot of BioShock and Atomic Heart, but with survival elements, and it's all set in northern England. I know that sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of elements to it they're pretty abstract. The game doesn't hold your hand, it throws you in. It's part investigation, part survival. I think it's really cool. A lot of you guys already watched the Before You Buy. I'll link that in the description down below, but thank you if you watched that, because I really like this game. Also, we did a Before You Buy for the first Berzerker, Khazan. If you're looking for a Souls-like that'll really kick your ass, it seems like it's this one. The art style, the kind of cel-shaded anime style, is really cool, but it's also bloody, chaotic, crazy. And for some of you guys out there, especially people who love this subgenre, it might be just what the doctor ordered. Also, I missed it last week, but Fragpunk released. This is a competitive first-person shooter with some real creative ideas. I definitely think it's worth putting on your radar if you like multiplayer. You know, you like playing games like that, but like you're a little tired. You want something a little different, something that shakes things up. Fragpunk might be something at least worth keeping an eye on. And in terms of shaking things up, like one of the first real big competitors to The Sims, inZOI is out. We're only just kind of getting our first impressions out. There will be a sort of video out this weekend for it. It seems like it has a lot of interesting ideas in terms of like player creation tools, and you know, it uses like machine learning stuff, but I'm curious to see how it actually plays as a life simulator game. Graphically, it looks wild, but yeah, we'll wait and see how you know, the mainstream gaming crowd really takes to this one. And in some small updates worth mentioning, the first is this trailer for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. New character announcement. It's Ronaldo. Like, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, cool. Why not? Put Shaq in the game too. Shaq will do anything. Anyway, that's cool. I appreciate weird crossovers like that. Also, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, the game we've been anticipating for a long time now, that has gone through quite a lot of development change-ups, was slated for the first half of 2025, but now that the developers have come out and announced that it's officially releasing October. Also, in case you missed it, Gameinformer is back. Of course, I talked about the news a couple of months back. Gameinformer, the classic video game magazine from the 90s and website, was owned by GameStop. They unceremoniously shut it down, but now it is revived. It's back with the crew that was on till the end. Now they're back. The website is back, and they did say that they have plans to bring back the magazine and have a subscription service and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, this is actually backed by Gunzilla Games, a newer development studio co-founded by Neil Blomkamp, the movie director. And this, their game is Off the Grid. It's like kind of an early access release, and it's a company based around blockchain and NFT stuff. So at the very least, it is like separate. It seems like they're really trying to keep like full editorial freedom and control at Gameinformer, which is good. But myself and a lot of other people out there are looking at the fact that their backing is from an unproven game studio, with like blockchain and NFT technology, so could be shaky ground. Still, I think if this can be good and Game Informer can be back and be good and hopefully expand and do interesting new things, I think that's a win. And the fact that they're continuing a magazine, I think, is also a win because there is an avenue for niche magazines to still exist, like Edge magazine. So yeah, cheers to that. Also, interestingly enough, I kind of missed this at the tail end of last week, but Microsoft put out some images about like, Xbox everywhere and stuff like that. And they put out some official marketing with some UI markups and stuff like that. And some eagle-eyed viewers noticed, and Microsoft quickly took this down, that one of the tabs in the UI, like Xbox, genres, and then also Steam, leading to a lot of people speculating that Steam is coming to more Xbox hardware and devices and ecosystems. And I would say that even though they took this down, I think that's not a big surprise. With how Xbox is really kind of opening up their ecosystem and trying to get their stuff everywhere and focusing on games publishing more than hardware, I think this just totally makes sense. Still, nothing official yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. But speaking of Xbox, we now have the official announcement from both Troy Baker and Nolan North that Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation 5 with a fresh release date of April 17th, 2025, just around like 5 months or so after it originally released in December for Xbox. And yeah, it's a great game. I absolutely loved it. And I think people, if you're only playing on PlayStation, now is your chance. You should definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. But I think that's a good way to end, just with a classic game recommendation. So let me know what you think about all the news we talked about this week, and there is a lot. The Nintendo Switch Direct. Did any games really catch your eye, or are you just ignoring all that and really buckling down for the Switch 2? And then their Nintendo digital game sharing stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you see any potential caveats or issues? And with the conversation starter at the start of this video, big games taking a long time, and Intergalactic and Witcher 4 not releasing anytime soon. How do you feel? Are you willing to wait? But most importantly, would you rather not know about them for this long? Let's talk about this stuff. Down in the comments, hit me up. I'm always in the comments as much as possible, but if you want to yell at me directly, find me on Twitter, Instagram, social media, all those places, anywhere really. I'm on all of them except for TikTok. Just search at Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here. I get you caught up on the news every week real quick. So yeah, if you like it, clicking the like button helps us out. Thank you, but that's it. I gotta go back to work. A lot of games to cover behind the scenes. So all I ask of you is to have a great weekend, be safe, and remember, pizza's on me, man.